After my talk, I want all of you to go out and save the world by doing one very important thing. Nothing. That's right. The simple way for you to save the world is to keep doing what you do. You do you. You can save lives while living yours and save the world without changing your behavior. And when we talk about saving the world, we of course have to start with a washing machine. These are two washing machines. Both cost $500. They hold 8 kilograms of clothing and have energy label A. They are almost identical. And I say almost because this one on the right has one interesting feature. And no, I'm not talking about remote-controlled washing. Do you know what the interesting feature is? It saves the world. And how that works is actually surprisingly simple, and it requires you to do nothing. Sorry, nothing. See, for this washing machine, I pay $500 and I get a washing machine. $400 are expenses and wages for the thousands of people who invented, made, and sold me this washing machine. And the Wolf of Wall Street has invested to make this business possible. And in return, he gets $100 of profit from each and every washing machine sold. And from the thousands of washing machines sold, he buys 3 Ferraris. And this washing machine is exactly the same. I pay $500 and I get a washing machine. $400 are wages and expenses. And again, the Wolf of Wall Street has invested to make this business possible. And again, there's $100 of profit from each washing machine sold. But that's where the difference is. The difference that will save the world. The Wolf of Wall Street has now decided that profit should go to a charity. A charity that educates the next generation and saves lives by improving healthcare. So instead of buying Ferraris, the profits of your washing machine educate the next generation and might even save someone's life. A pretty cool feature for a washing machine. And this is not a hypothetical example. This is a Bosch washing machine. The biggest shareholder of Bosch is a foundation that educates the next generation and improves healthcare to save lives. They have donated more than $1 billion to do so. And Bosch is not alone. You can buy jackets from Patagonia, and your fashion choice also saves the climate. Buy salad dressing from Newman's Own, and your next salad also feeds hungry children. Buy tickets from Humanitix, and the booking fees from your Adele concert also educate children. And we have one thing in common. We use profit for good. With profit for good, the profits from the products you buy go to solving the world's biggest problems, like climate change, rather than the world's smallest problems, like what color your third Ferrari should be. And this is not only better for the planet, it's actually better for business too. Because companies owned by foundations live 6 times longer, and even better, during those long lives, they are more profitable than their for-profit competition. Who would rather buy the $500 washing machine that saves the next generation and might even save a life, or the $500 one that buys anonymous shareholders' super yachts? And would you rather be an accountant for Patagonia and save the future of your children? or do the same job for the same wage, where your profits buy shareholders Ferraris, super yachts, and recreational space flights, the very things that will ruin our future? If the options exist, the choice is obvious. But that's the problem. These options mostly don't exist. And I hear you think, why? If people prefer buying from and working for these companies, and they do better than the for-profit competition, why do we only have a couple dozen options? So let's start with what a company actually is. A company is a group of people solving a problem with a solution in exchange for your money. Companies are solutions to problems. It's that simple. I need a MacBook to present this and clean clothes to present this in, and Apple and Bosch have solved those problems in exchange for my money. And when you pay more for a product than it costs to make, the difference is profits. Almost all companies that become very large, like Apple, need money to grow to that size. Wealthy investors like the Wolf of Wall Street provide that money, and in return, they become the shareholder of the business and usually get almost all of the profits of the business together with the founders. And more than 90% of all profits come from these large companies. And companies without investors usually stay small or die, like the baker on the corner of your street. These are most companies, but they generate only 10% of profits. And companies usually only get investors if they can show that they can make super yacht amounts of profits. So companies have two options: stay small or die without investors, or grow large and profitable with investors. And that's why these options don't exist. Investors fund companies that can solve problems at a profit. And you know what they don't yet fund? Companies that can save thousands of lives or whole rainforests with their profits. Now, I might sound like I'm against capitalism, the Wolf of Wall Street, or large businesses, but I'm absolutely not. I think capitalism has worked spectacularly well for billions of people. It has solved many problems with many solutions, and we have the amazing and hard work of investors and entrepreneurs to thank for that. If you have money, investors and entrepreneurs have probably solved your problems. But that's also where capitalism has failed billions of people spectacularly well. If you cannot afford solutions to your problems, these problems do not get solved. Because remember, investors don't invest in problems that cannot be solved at a profit. And that's not that bad when you can't afford the latest $2,000 iPhone, but it's very bad when you can't afford a $2 bed net that can save your life from malaria. So capitalism solves profitable problems and at the same time leaves unprofitable problems like climate change and preventable death unsolved. And that's how the Bosch washing machine will save the world. What if we keep capitalism, which makes the world better for billions of people, and use its profits to make lives better for those who cannot afford solutions to their problems? Where your washing machine purchase also buys an education for a poor kid. What if we use profit for good? The best of both worlds to make the world better for all. So let me show you what a profit for good world would actually look like. Capitalism is amazing at generating profit by solving problems. it produces $10 trillion every single year. And that is such a large amount that it's hard to understand what that can buy. So let me put the wealth of a millionaire and a billionaire on this graph. So here you can see the wealth of the millionaire and the billionaire. And if you think I forgot to switch slides, I haven't. A millionaire isn't even a single pixel on this graph, so it's invisible. And the billionaire, that's right here. Probably difficult for you to see too. And even $1 billion is hard for us to imagine. When a billionaire buys 3 Ferraris, a private jet, a recreational space flight, and a super yacht, he spends only 20% of that billion. $10 trillion is 10,000 times the wealth of that billionaire every single year. But this means we can unleash trillions to solve our biggest problems every single year. Profit for good is a systems change that multiplies money into impact rather than space flights. See, where the Wolf of Wall Street normally invests $10,000 in the hopes of getting 1 million to buy Ferraris, of course, he can now turn himself into Robin Hood by again investing $10,000 in a profit for good company whose profits plant 1 million trees. And because people want these companies, they live longer and are more profitable. So the Wolf of Wall Street can plant more trees or save more lives than he ever could by investing in a normal company and donating his profits as a philanthropist. So even for investors and philanthropists who want to maximize impact, profit for good is the obvious choice. So, let's take our biggest problems. Lifting all 600 million people out of extreme poverty requires less than 10% of yearly profits. Saving almost all 5 million children dying from preventable diseases, also less than 10% of yearly profits. Oh, and ending hunger, 4%, the pocket change of yearly profits. And of course, the mother of all problems, climate change. The problem we all think is impossible and impossibly expensive to solve is just 25% of yearly profits. So even when we start using profit to solve the world's biggest problems, we still have more than $5 trillion or $5,000 billion every single year to solve our smaller problems, like breaking the world record for the longest yacht. We might still pay investors and founders for some of the risks they take building and funding companies that solve important problems. But in a world where profit is used for good, we will have to give up some of our Ferraris, private jets, super yachts, and recreational space flights. And I know it's asking for a lot to give up your metallic neon green third Ferrari. But isn't that a small price to pay to save millions of lives and the suffering of 600 million extremely poor people and save the future of our children? So profit for good is just one small step for us and one giant leap for humankind. And it requires only a tiny change from all of us. And that choice is yours. As a customer, you have to do nothing but buy what you were already buying for the same price but from companies where your profit is used for good. Buy the change you want to see in the world. As an employee, you also do nothing but work at the company that creates that change. And if that company doesn't exist, build it and we will come. Solve a problem for people who can afford your solution and use your profit to solve another important problem for people who cannot afford your solution. And if you are wealthy, is it a bad idea to use your profit to fund the next Bosch and lift 10,000 children out of poverty instead of lifting yourself into outer space? If you will fund it, we will come. For the rest, do nothing. Save the world. Let's use profit for good.